Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Simplifying Life with Kashira. Today's guest is someone who makes neuroscience feel like magic. Dr. Sujata, she is a counselor, an expert in leadership and intercultural intelligence, and an award winning advocate for diversity. She is also the creator of Neurodots, a really fascinating concept. We are going to dive into it today and a lot of other interesting aspects. And oh, she's on a mission to make Perspicacity the fifth wave of psychology. I hope I have pronounced it correctly. Dr. Sujata, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Kashira, for having me here today. I love the message of simplifying life because life itself has gotten so complex and so chaotic and so misconstrued and so
I know.
misunderstood.
You nailed it with that. And this is the exact motto with which I started this podcasting journey, that our lives are so simple. And we are somewhere stuck in that wretched state. Just a small step to try and help out people in simplifying lives. You nailed it with that. Thank you so much, Dr. Sujata. Quick question for you. If your brain had a neon sign flashing three words that describe you, what would they be? See, I'm speaking neuron dots language, huh?
Yeah, that's right. You're speaking my language now. So, my first word would be counseling because that's what I love doing. And at the heart, this is my passion and the work that I do. My second word would be interculturalism because we have to get along with all types of cultures. It's
Mhm.
not fair that there is hatred. That's not fairness.
Yeah.
So we have to work together to understand each other. So interculturalism is something that I believe in, and it's a passion. My third word would definitely have to be perspicacity, and it's a very long word, but it
Yeah.
means wisdom and discernment.
And I read this word on your profile multiple times, and I thought first I need to understand how to pronounce it. So I never heard this word before, but I know about a little bit about it, and I'm sure we're going to discuss more about perspicacity. Am I saying it
Sure.
right?
Yes, you're saying it correctly. And because let me tell you a very funny story.
Okay.
The first time that I saw the story, perspicacity, was on my SAT test.
Okay.
Way back when I was in high school, and
Yeah.
I sat there for what seemed like 10 minutes to me in my brain, and I thought, perspicacity, and I kept saying it to myself internally. But the first thing I did after I got out of the SAT test was I ran home. No iPhones back then for me. So I ran home, opened up the dictionary, and I looked at it, and I've fallen in love with this word ever since. And it's going
Wow.
to be the title of my second book.
Wow. That's amazing. So let's talk a little bit about that. You've been born and brought up in India. And
Yes.
since then, you moved to US and you did a lot of incredible work out here in US. And backstage, like before we started our call, you were talking about a slight problem that you have in your vocal cords. If you're comfortable, I would love to deep dive a little bit more over there. And I'll tell you why this is so important. Because there are a lot of people who have great talents, who have great caliber, and they've got everything, okay, with no problems, with no challenges, but they're stuck because of their own mental limitations. They're not able to take the actions. They're just sitting somewhere like maybe I'll fail, maybe I'll fumble, so many things. So I want to take it to another level by putting the spotlight on you, that a person, even with the kind of thing that you mentioned about, we're going to talk in detail about it, that you have this problem, but that hasn't limited you. You have proven that there is nothing that can limit you if you want to make a change. So, to continue spreading that message, back to you, Dr. Sujata. Please let us know a little bit more about it, please.
Sure, I'd be happy to talk about it, Kashira. And I want to say that I am proud to be a foreign born counselor. I was
Mhm.
born in India, and my parents brought me here to the US for freedoms and opportunities that they felt that I would not have had a chance in my birth country at that time. So,
Yeah.
what I learned from them was perseverance. It's required in the whole of life development. You see, they applied for an American visa for 6 long years in a row and they were denied. So it
Oh,
was in the 7th year that they were granted a visa to come to the United States. If they had given up and had it not been for their perseverance, I would not be sitting here today. So the message was very clear to me as a child that just as my parents persevered, that it takes perseverance to simplify your life, to have that fortitude to keep going despite your challenges or problems. And as you mentioned, my vocal cords don't close. So I talk with a little bit of wiggle, a little bit of jiggle. Now, it was not always roses and flowers because I did have my haters. There was a presentation where somebody in the back row stood up and said, "You need to get off the stage. You don't speak well." And so
oh,
security had to come and they whisked that person away. So there are people that don't accept it. So that night I went home and I regressed a little bit. And I had to do the shadow work that Carl Jung talks about, right? Is what is resonating inside of me that is causing these feelings to erupt. I can change myself, but I cannot change others. I
yeah,
have no control over others. I can only control myself.
yeah, yeah. That's such a powerful thing that you have said in few lines, Dr. Sujata. The fact that we cannot change others, but we've got everything in our power to change ourselves. And this is the simplest way people can understand that. Do not bother yourself thinking about what others are going to think, how they are going to perceive, because majority of the times that is the biggest limitation. This is the reason, right? This is the reason why we don't get up, why we don't take actions, because we'll fail. And we'll fail because what others will think, right? If we are failing in silence, nobody is seeing us, we are fine. So
Yes,
this is the biggest limitation.
that's right. And Kashira, I do want to say too, along with the fear of failure, there
Mhm.
are studies, especially for women, that say fear of success
Mhm.
because that success changes things for a woman's work
Mhm.
life balance. It
Yeah,
doesn't change for a male because the
yeah,
male has that success and he continues to go to work. But once a woman attains her dreams, her goals, her success, a little bit of fear of success kicks in because now she's going to have to manage that work, that success, as well as children,
yeah,
family, parents, friends, in laws. You see, the
yeah, yeah,
dynamics shifts.
yeah. With the changing phases of women's life, for example, especially talking about maternities,
Yes.
women, somewhere they're scared. The women who are really ambitious, who want to achieve, they want to have a good life at home as well, and they want to do, all the responsibilities they're supposed to. Somewhere they're scared they'll lose the position that they have. especially when it is, in their corporate sector. And speaking of that, I read one article, I think just yesterday. It talked about how women who are highly ambitious, though they get the maternity leaves, but is it actually a leave for them? Is it actually a happy leave for them? Because they know that they have lost the opportunity which they have gained in so many years with their hard work. Because when they'll come back, somebody else would have taken that role, right? The position will not wait for you because the business has to keep going.
Yes.
So that fear, that burden, that pressure, that is huge. And I have not seen people talking much about it. I know, in women communities at smaller level, people do speak about it, but it is a big challenge which women have, that they have to do this and then they also want to bounce back to their jobs. But there's so much of effort that they have to put in to regain the position that they deserve.
So true. So true. Yes.
Yeah.
And here in the United States, DEI, diversity, inclusion, equity,
Hmm.
has been eradicated. So
Hmm.
I'm sure you've heard all this from the news. So we don't have DEI. There's no equality or equity anymore. We cannot use such language in the workplace. So
Yeah.
there are many concerns, and it has not helped to simplify life. The eradication of DI programmings and such has caused more suffering and
Yeah.
more complexities. I also want to add it was Friedrich Nietzsche
Mhm.
that said, life is all about suffering, but you have to find meaning through it. So, no doubt he was a very emotional philosopher, but his writings have been used to understand many constructs in life. And so,
Yeah.
here for your podcast, Kashira, about simplifying life, we take the viewpoint that we may be suffering because we are not simplifying life. So,
Yeah.
in order to simplify life, we must gain an understanding of how to deconstruct that
Yeah.
chaos, the complexities. And so,
Yeah.
what does simplifying mean? At the very basic level, it means to make life easier,
Mhm.
happier, for
Yeah.
well being.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And to add to that, Dr. Sujata, I think the first step to deconstruct the chaos that we are into is to sit with yourself and understand who you are.
Yes,
Many times,
absolutely.
majority of the problems are because we have not spoken to ourselves. We don't know who we are, what are our value system, what we like, what we don't. We need to understand who we are. And the day we understand that fact, the day we accept ourselves, life already starts changing in a positive way.
That's
I
right. And Kashira, what you just said was an excellent, excellent example of perspicacity. That's it. That day, that moment when you realize, when
Yeah.
it dawns on you, that moment is called perspicacity.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so let's talk about perspicacity a little bit more. Okay, so I think with so much of our discussion on this, I am getting understanding of it. But for our audience at broader level, could you simplify it a little bit more, and how perspicacity could help us in getting better insight? Can this be learned, or people are born with it? A little bit more insight from the
Sure,
expert.
sure, sure. So, perspicacity, the definition is to have that discernment, a
Mhm.
sense of wisdom, a sense of keenness. Okay, so I'm trying to gain perspicacity. How do I do this? So, my suggestion is to think about three things. First thing you already mentioned, self awareness. This is
Yeah,
key.
yeah,
Second thing is you must be open for change, open for new thinking, metacognition. Third thing
yeah,
is sustaining those behaviors through consistency that work well for you and for others around you,
Yeah.
because we must get along with others. We don't work in a vacuum, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
in my first book, Activate Success, I talk about these three things. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you take self awareness, think about it. Where is the self awareness? I want you to think about three things. It's in the head brain, the
Mm-hmm.
heart brain, and the gut brain. You see, we have
Right.
three brains that can
Right.
offer you those steps towards self awareness. The second construct, open to change, that comes from personality theory. So if you look into personality theories, the famous one is the Big Five. One of those five personality traits is openness. And it highlights that openness will open the door to many, many, many positive things for you. The
Right.
third construct is that consistency, how consistent you are in the different contexts. Now, our personality is fluid, so it changes over different contexts. We might not have the same personality at work as we do
Mm-hmm.
with our best friend. That's
Yeah.
okay. That's okay. But the consistency in your values, what you are true to, right? So again, I feel like I'm talking a lot, but I'm on a roll here. So
Go on. Go on.
okay. So I know I'm suggesting that people simplify the physical environment first. You declutter everything around you. How much stuff do you need? You don't need all that stuff, right? So
Right.
cleaning and clearing away, very important. But then guess what? You have to do the shadow work to declutter your head
Mhm.
brain, heart brain, and gut brain.
Yeah. I love that. So, in a way, perspicacity is like having a sharper lens to see the world, clearer, more deeper, and more connected. And it starts all with yourself. That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you for giving that word to the world. So, Dr. Sujata, you wrote Activate Success to help people step into leadership.
Yes.
So, I want to ask you, as for you, what is one success myth you think people need to unlearn? The
Mhm.
biggest mistake leaders make when making decisions.
Yes, yes. So it's such a good question because you're a beautiful question. So we all know that everybody
Mhm.
wants to be the boss, you know,
Yes.
and everybody has a boss. So, and usually the surveys are showing us that 75% of the population are not very happy with their boss. And that's significant results, right? So people go home, they drive home, I can do so much better. And but how can you do so much better? You know,
Yeah.
is that really true? You know, so
Yeah.
so activate success tips, tools, insights to be a
Yeah.
leader in your niche. First thing you must do is how to self lead. See, there's so many thoughts, 74,000 thoughts that
Mhm.
come in and out of your brain. You have 100 billion neurons in here. So what's happening is you're thinking, the default thinking is your back brain. It
Yeah.
takes awareness to self lead. It takes awareness to bring it from here to your frontal lobe here to the
Mhm.
rational part. And
Mhm.
then even one step further in self awareness and attention awareness is intention. So it takes actually intention to go from frontal lobe, then to find those neuro dots that lead
Mhm.
you to wisdom and perspicacity. You see? So it
Mhm.
starts with self leading. You cannot activate success for yourself if you don't know how to self lead. And you self lead through emotional intelligence, through
Mhm.
openness, you see,
Mhm.
through interculturalism, which is dialogues, narratives, listening
Mhm.
more talking less. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
It's all about having that emotional intelligence to understand people as human first, then your direct reportees, then title in the organization. I think once we see people as human first and understand them at that level, I think that makes all the difference. So you said it absolutely right that this is what we need. Sometimes I really think, Dr. Sujata, that such basic things, right, that are part of being human, right? We are here to spread kindness, understand people at emotional level, connect with people at emotional level. But because of, the kind of stress and the kind of world we are living in, people have changed, also, as we call the survival instinct. So everybody wants to think good for themselves. And somewhere in making things better just for themselves, the world is lacking kindness, a bit of that selfless efforts to help out people. So, such basic things which we need to make this world even more better place for everybody to live together. And that cannot happen with just one person. It's a big ocean, and every drop counts. So, yeah, and I really wish that with your efforts, with my efforts, and with all the efforts of so many people who are there spreading kindness, and so many people, great people, I've had the opportunity to speak on my podcast. For example, Solvega, what a wonderful woman she is.
Yeah.
Ashwin, I met him through Solvega. Gaurav, like so many people. They're all spreading kindness in their own ways in the world. And when I meet them, I just feel so warm. It feels that okay, we do have people, we do have right forces who are there out in the world doing their bit. So that's really amazing. That's really amazing. And Dr. Sujata, keep doing what you're doing. This is like a really amazing work that you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank
If you will suggest one thing to get started with, to start activating success in their life, what would that starting one activity you would suggest to people?
you. Beautiful question. The very first thing is introspection.
Hmm.
Learn about how you learn.
Hmm.
Learn what your values are
Right.
and make the connection between feelings,
Yeah.
values, and stressors. Because that's the formula I give in the book. You
Hmm.
see, it's very simple. It goes like this. If
Yeah.
you value peace and there is hate around you, you're going to feel stress.
Yeah.
If you value cleanliness and things are dirty around you, you are going to feel stress. So the connection between your feelings is directly tied to your values. And here's the thing, we don't and we cannot get along with everyone because not everyone values the same things that we value.
Yeah.
So, like you said, your connection to me, to Solviega, to Ashwin, it's because we share the same values. You see,
Yeah.
the reality of the situation is while we are here having this dialogue and revealing our narratives, there is an opposite faction that's out
Yeah.
there that's doing the exact opposite of us.
Yeah.
This is the
Absolutely.
truth. This is the reality of life. So, although we don't have anything in common with them, with the hatred and the demise and the destruction, we can do our part and we can find like-minded people who feel the same way, who have the values and want to do something about that stress, that imbalance that we're feeling.
I echo with it, like every word that you said, I echo with that. So, Dr. Sujata, having achieved so much in your life, having gone through a lot, I'm sure, do you still feel some kind of fear, anything that intimidates you even now in life?
That's again very good question. Um, Kashira, you ask really good questions. You're really a good interviewer here, I must say. Uh, there are always fears that come up because back here in the back brain, we have a structure called the amygdala. That amygdala, it is only in charge of two things: fear and anxiety.
Mhm.
So, I have the amygdala just like everybody else, just like all human beings. And again, we can use that fear and anxiety to either distress us
Mhm.
or to use it to propel us, to motivate us to, like you said, help each other and understand each other. And back here, you see this irrational brain with all its fears. This is where ego lives. Ego lives in emotions. And if we really need to be aware of that ego, because ego feels good, ego wants to be the boss, ego wants to be powerful, all of these things. So we really have to keep that ego, at an understanding point and really work with the ego-ness that we have back here. And I think that we should just continue to strive through awareness and intention to bring our thoughts from the back brain to the frontal lobe, and then from the frontal lobe to reach that transformation, that wisdom, that perspicacity.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What are you scared of if you have to say it in one word?
Um, the lack of peace building. I think that that is a great fear. I think that we have to be peacemakers. We have to
Yeah,
build peaceful workplaces.
yeah,
There's so much conflict at the individual level, at the group
yeah,
level, and at the company level, and at the global level. And we just have to continue to build peace because those conflicts and feeding those conflicts and feeding the ego, that's a very scary thing for me, you know. And a very basic principle that I would suggest is in the workplace, if anything kind of feels a little funny here in the gut brain and the heart brain, don't react because reaction is back here. You simply
yeah,
say, I need clarification. What did
yeah,
you mean by that?
yeah,
Don't get offended so quickly because then offense is going to lead you to anger. Then
yeah,
anger leads you to assumptions of evil intent. And then that
yeah,
leads you to retaliation. And it just snowballs from there. So, it's a very scary world out there. And I do have
yeah,
my fears and people not knowing how to manage themselves and not to
yeah,
how to manage their relationships.
yeah. I share your feelings. That's true. All right, Dr. Sujata, let's shake things up with a quick fire round. No overthinking, just say the first thing that comes to mind. Okay?
Sure.
One book that changed your life other than yours.
It would be Viktor Frankl's meaning. Viktor Frankl suffered so much, but found meaning and purpose through writing his book.
Okay, wow. A cultural tradition that you wish the whole world followed.
One cultural tradition that I absolutely love comes from the
Mhm.
Indian culture, and
Okay.
that is the family gatherings.
Oh,
And
wow. Yes.
yes, and in those family gatherings, we ate the food, but then we had music afterwards, and some people call it a bhajan, which is
Yeah.
an Indian word. But I love that we could do these gatherings at different people's homes and share music. And I also love the tradition that the kids would share their talent. So if one child knew how to sing, then he would sing. Another child knew how to play the piano, they would play the
Yeah.
piano. And
Yeah.
that, I think that traditions that bring the family and extended family together are much needed. Uh, because we live in a world where it's just information bombarding.
I know.
Millions of pieces of information are coming at us every day. Our brains are just overwhelmed. We have to take a step back. We have to gather in person and talk and have conversations and allow the older generations to
Yeah.
tell their stories.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. What you just said, Dr. Sujata, is a piece of gem because this is what is really, really needed in today's time. People need somebody to talk to, and we don't have that somebody. We don't have that friend. We don't have somebody to confide in. So what you said is a complete piece of gem, Dr. Sujata. And I don't know, how much truth there is, but I read about that people in China and Japan, they are starting their businesses of providing families to people who are in need of that kind of emotional support. Because they've definitely identified that there is a big requirement of such people, and everybody is living in nuclear family. I wouldn't say everybody, but most of us are living in nuclear family. Wherein we don't have that kind of support, and that feeling that we had when we were kids, exactly what you spoke about. I remember, my childhood, we had so many cousins, and every summer vacation, either they used to come to our home or we used to go to their home. And it was like, big gathering of 15, 20 people, and so much of, yeah, so much of happiness, so much of entertainment and engagement we used to have. Somebody doing something, somebody making food, somebody, entertaining. So that vibe, I mean, I can feel the chills just by talking about those moments. So I understand exactly what you're saying and how much we need these in today's time. So
Yes.
thank you for bringing those moments in front of my eyes.
Sure, sure.
What is the most perspicacious thing you've done recently?
Yeah, we're back to
I hope I have pronounced
perspicacity.
the word correctly. I thought I
It's
missed the
okay.
pronunciation.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're just going with the flow here. So I'm trying to wrap up this book on perspicacity. And I just want people to look for it in a few months. And I hope that it helps millions of people. That's all that I want people to do, is to pick up my book so that they can simplify their lives and find well being and happiness as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. Dr. Sujata, thank you so much for bringing this warmth on this conversation. This was just lovely, and I thoroughly enjoyed our chat today. Such an incredible conversation. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
And if listeners can take away just one neuron dot from today's episode, what should it be?
I want everybody who is listening to understand that all we need to do is look within and not without.
Beautiful. And where can people connect with you, learn more about your work, get their hands on your book? If you could give a little details about that.
Sure. The first book is available on Amazon. It's also on Kindle. The second book, Perspicacity, that should be coming out in 2 months. If you want to connect with me, please find me on LinkedIn.
That's how Dr. Sujata and I connected over LinkedIn. And I am already loving her. I mean, I have to say this, I'm already loving her. And I just feel like this conversation should keep going. So I am going to keep chatting with her because I just love the vibe that you've created today, Dr. Sujata, to be really honest.
Thank you.
Amazing.
So, Kashira, I would love to have a part two after the Perspicacity book comes out.
Oh, wow. Yes, absolutely. That's an incredible thought. Yes, let's do that. So, in 2 months, when Dr. Sujata's Perspicacity book comes out, let's meet up again and have some more chat because I'm pretty sure there's a lot in store which is going to for us. So, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that amazing idea. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today's episode of Simplifying Life with Kashira. If this conversation sparked a new insight for you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And as always, keep simplifying, keep learning, and stay perspicacious. Did I say it right? Thank you, thank you, thank you. This was wonderful.